Welcome back, everybody. Email us as always, freedom@charliekirk.com. One of my favorite people in the world. Great American, great friend, smart, wise, tough, funny. Dr. James Lindsay is with us. Dr. Lindsay, welcome back to the program.
Hey, Charlie. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So lots to discuss this hour, but I want to make sure we plug the movie that you're involved in. I had somebody come up to me in Albuquerque, and he said, Charlie, you got to check out this movie, Beneath Sheep's Clothing. It's unbelievable. This guy was just like on fire. I don't know if he works on the team or he saw a preview. I mean, he was like an evangelist for this film. Dr. Lindsay, tell us all about it.
Man, Charlie, I'll tell you, because like normally I'm a little modest to talk about stuff that I am involved in, but I've had a flood. The movie came out last Friday, and so it's been out just for the weekend, really. And I have had a flood of, messages sent to me that this thing is incredible. This film is going to save the Republic. Everybody has to see this. I've never seen a response like this, so it's really exciting. The point of the film, honestly, was to show what happened in Soviet Union in churches and in schools, and to say we're seeing similar stuff here in the United States now with woke. We're saying that communism's not coming; it's here, and that we have to wake up and deal with that. So we made a film because books do a lot, shows do a lot, interviews do a lot. Social media does a lot, but a film really can reach people, and it's high action, it's extremely high production quality, it's really engaging. It's hard to stop watching it once you start. I've seen it a bunch of times, and every time I have to get through it because I can't put it down. And it's just, I think it's a really fantastic vehicle to tell America exactly what is now, frankly, on our ballot, which is communism's here.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So let's play the trailer here. And the film is Beneath Sheep's Clothing. People can find it at salemnow.com. And I tell you, James, this person that came up to me in Albuquerque, you'd think that he just saw The Godfather for the first time, right? I mean, he's like,
That's
Charlie, you got to
big,
check
man.
this out. And so I echo that. Let's play cut 74.
Here's the thing about communism. When it comes knocking at your door, it doesn't say, hi, I'm here to impoverish, enslave, and murder you. It says, I'm here to liberate you from oppression.
You take over the colleges of education, then you take over all the teachers, and you take over all the students, and thus you get the future.
He said the ultimate objective of having government school was to destroy Christianity. Those were his words.
People's war means to destroy the opposing country through unconventional methods.
And Khrushchev bragged about it. We'll take America without firing a shot.
In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of American students without being challenged. The result you can see.
So that's just a little taste. That was Yuri Bezmenov at the end of that clip there. So, James, I'm curious on a personal basis. Typically, your emphasis is Mao. I mean, you always pepper around the communist buffet of the 20th century, the horror show. Why the Soviet Union? What about the Soviet Union stuck out for you for the need to participate and help make this film?
Well, I wanted to help participate and make the film because I have a lot of ability to connect what's going on with communist regimes of the past to the woke regime of the present. But actually, this was Julie Beeling. That's the woman at the beginning of the trailer. It's her documentary. She's the director, and it's based off of a book she wrote by the same title. And so she actually has a master's degree, a double master's degree in Russian literature and Russian history, and she did her mission. She's Mormon. She did her mission in in Russia immediately after the Soviet Union collapsed in the 1990s. So she had all this firsthand experience picking up what was going on in the Soviet Union right after it collapsed. And in particular, what she was struck by was even though they had had 70 years of trying to hammer Christian belief out of the Russian people, virtually all of them, very, very few would say that they were atheists. They virtually all said that they retained their Christianity in private, that they still believed in God. And she wanted to kind of understand what had happened, particularly with the religious persecution of the Russians during Soviet Union. So her vision was to put together a film that showed that aspect of Soviet life and then compare it to what's going on in the U.S. And she asked me if I would be involved, if I would come and do, some talking head stuff. At first, it was a small role, and then we did a big, long interview one day, and it expanded. But just trying to connect those dots that she had, then she had started to connect to the woke movement and put a lot of depth and color to it was why I wanted to be involved.
So I'm glad we have you for the full hour, James. So we're going to kind of just bounce around here, but I want to encourage people to go to salemnow.com, Salem, which of course we're very close with and we do a great job together. They're terrific. So James, for the uninitiated in the audience that say, wait a second, hold on. Being woke and communism, those are two different things. I mean, woke is about opening your eyes to the lenses of impression. It's to see the police brutality and the colonialist implications. Communism is like killing fields. What is the connection for someone that is not in the weeds as much as they should between being woke, as Kamala Harris would say, you got to be woke, and communism? In fact, let me tee this up for you. Play cut 75.
And, you know, we have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah.
And there you have Lorene Powell Jobs horrified next to her that she's saying it. Connect the dots.
All right, so woke, that means woke up, right? It means awake. Well, what did you wake up to? Well, you woke up to that the world is made out of systems of oppression. In other words, it's an oppressor versus oppressed dynamic. Maybe it's economic, rich versus poor, or producers versus workers, but maybe it's race. Maybe it's white versus people of color. Maybe it's sex. Maybe it's, normal versus sexually deviant. Maybe it's male versus female. You could imagine a million different lines of oppressor versus oppressed, right? So that's woke. We all agree that that's woke. The identity politics is woke. Well, let's just go back to the very first page of the Communist Manifesto, which was written by Karl Marx in 1848. What did he say? He said that the entire movement of history is the conflict of classes, and he gives a lot of examples. Basically like slave owner versus slave and so on. And then he says, or in a word, oppressor versus oppressed. So when you see this manipulation of waking up to believing society is organized around oppressor versus oppressed dynamics, and that the oppressed have to wake up and transform society to a new model that's going to be socialist or anti-racist or queer or whatever it happens to be, feminist, you are very likely dealing with something that is in the field of Marxism. And in this case, I've spent the past 5 years of my career nailing down that the origin point of virtually everything we see in the woke ideology comes straight out of communism, repackaged to attack the soft spots of the West.
We are so vulnerable to communism and to wokeism. The film says it's not coming, but it's here. And in some ways, this election, it properly framed, is a referendum on the American genre of communism. Is that a fair summation?
Yeah, in fact, I've been a little bit glib, I suppose, but I go around and I've been thanking Vice President Harris for putting the national conversation about communism in our faces. The Harris-Walz ticket is a clearly Marxist ticket. Elon Musk said so controversially on Twitter the other day, and the way they shot back is almost a signature that is communist. They said, oh, that's not right. Elon Musk doesn't understand communism. So, I mean, that's almost always how they tell you that's exactly what it is. So we can guess that in a few weeks it'll be, of course it's communist, and here's why it's a good thing. Here's why maybe we do need a little more communism. And so I'm grateful that it's now coming to light, and I think we're about to have this national conversation about.
So let me ask you from a framing, just 30 seconds. If you were advising President Trump, would you say in a debate, you need to call her a communist? Do you think the American people are ready for that?
Yes, and he needs to be able to say why it is with the oppressor versus oppressed line from the manifesto.
We're going to talk about this, and I don't say this as a hypothetical. I'm thinking of the short pieces of conversation I have with him here or there, what advice I would give, because it's totally true. My only concern, James, and you would know this better than I would traveling the country because you speak about communism, do some people just kind of repel when they hear you're just kind of a right-wing blowhard? I don't know. I think people are seeing things they've never seen before, but it doesn't really matter as much because it's true. She is a communist. She is a Marxist. And James Lindsay continues after the break. Check out salemnow.com. That is salemnow.com.
Public education is a Marxist institution designed to destroy Christianity and produce woke servants who are dutifully subservient to the state. Homeschool your kids, employ a tutor, or enroll your children in a private school.